I think an answer.
You've answered it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I'm going to write you here. I've worked out V on the side, but if you're quick at the chain rule, you can almost do this in your head, but I'm just showing you that the V here, if you let V equals x plus 1 to the 6, when you differentiate that by using the chain rule on the first section, you get 6 to the power x plus 1 to the power 5. Now obviously we're going to use u equals x squared, so du dx equals 2x. So the chain rule, so the actual final dy dx would be u, which is x squared, times dv dx, which we've got here, 6x plus 1 to the power 5, which we should write neatly as 6x squared, x plus 1 to the 5, and I'm pretty sure you get a method mark for that. Plus v, which we see is x plus 1 to the power 6, and times that by du dx times 2x. I'm going to put that at the front. So the final answer, nice and neatly, would be 2x, x plus 1 to the 6 to the power 6 plus 6x squared, x plus 1 to the power 5, and that will get you all your marks. Did we get that, Olu?
I did.
Yeah, that's good. Well done. Well done. So the key, yeah. So the key is spotting what to use. You need to use a product rule, but this you could use a chain rule in this bit. So this is using the chain rule and product rule combined, and that will be 3 out of 3. Right. The second one. This B, because it's divided, we know we have to use the quotient rule. So I think you should just give that a go, and then that's another 3-mark question you can do. So as you guys are in the process of doing this, I would just do du dx equals 2x, dv dx equals 2x. Just apply the chain rule, so we get v du dx, so that's x squared minus 3 2x, and it's minus u x squared plus 3 times 2x all over v squared, which you can just leave as x squared minus 3 all squared, and it says at the point where x equals 1. So technically I don't see why you'd need to simplify that. Just let x equals 1. Anyone got an answer yet?
I haven't substituted x yet.
But you got this. That's good. So we substitute 1 in. That's 2. Let's say we're going to get 1. So it's going to become 2 times 1 minus 3, which is minus 2, minus 2 times 1 minus 2 times 4 all over 1 minus 3 squared, so that's minus 2 squared, it's over 4. So that's going to be minus 4 minus 8 all over 4, and then we're going to get minus 3.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So this is a good recap of just using your skills. Neil, are we okay with that, Luca and William? Yep, it's good. So yeah, it's just good to practice these skills. I think the challenge is when you've got to use your trig rules as well. Now, I'm going to talk about question 2. How you would start question 2 is write that as y equals 4x plus 1 to the half. Right? Because that will make that easier. So what I would do here is you should let u equals this. So I'm going to write this here. U equals 4x plus 1. And then, so y equals u to the half. Do du dx equals 4. Dy du equals a half u to the minus a half. And we multiply them together. So dy dx equals, you can jump a step and substitute u in straight away, or as long as you get this bit right, 4 times a half is 2. So I'm going to change it to the u to the minus a half. We're going to put u in. So it's 2 times 4x plus 1 to a half. Okay, so that one I did for you because it's quite straightforward, just to show you. Now this is the chain rule because you've only got one function times the power. Well, as you can see with this, you've got to use the product rule because look, you've got an x squared and this to do separately. So there's 2 different functions to do. Right, I'm just going to talk through this whilst I do this because this is recorded. Right, y equals x cubed x plus 1 to the power 5. U equals x cubed, v equals x plus 1 to the power 5. Du dx equals 3x squared, and right, if you were to split that up using a chain rule, I'm just going to write that up here, x plus 1 to the power 5. That was a different question. You let u equals x plus 1, du dx equals 1, y equals u to the 5, dy du equals 5u to the power 4. We multiply together, so luckily that's just going to be 5u to the 4. So we're going to get finally dy dx here as 5u to the 4 times 1, u is x plus 1 to the x plus 1, so that's 5 to the x plus 1 to the 4. So we can write that there, 5 x plus 1 to the 4. Now an easy way to remember this is, because we've got this nice x term here and it's not 2x, how you do this is, you know this power is going to come to the front and then you're going to reduce that power by 1 and times the inside, what the inside is differentiated by. That's sort of the quicker way. And we just use the formula for the product rule, so u x cubed dv dx. So should I write like that? 5, put the 5 here, x plus 1 to the 4 plus v x plus 1 to the power 5 times du dx times 3x squared. That's dy dx. How many marks is that? That's worth 2, so that's correct. Ollie, have we finished?
Yeah.
Okay, question 4 part 2, just in case people haven't finished. I'll just rewrite this as y equals 3x to the 4 plus 1 to the power of half, and then use the chain rule. So essentially y equals u to the half, u equals 3x to the 4 plus 1, so du dx equals 12x cubed, and dy du equals a half u to the minus a half. So finally we're going to finish with dy dx equal, if you multiply it all out, 6x cubed to the 3x to the 4 plus 1 to minus a half. Any questions on that?
No.
No? Anybody else? Amisha, Luca, William, Nia? Be able to apply everything, if that makes sense. Right, was anyone else stuck with 1A? Okay, right. I'm going to use a red pen. So, I can see that, yeah, finding excellence. So, perfect. So, what it is we've got to remember, we've got to be strategic, and if you can't get 1 or 2 method marks, it's not a big deal. So, I can just going to start A from here. Y equals x ln x. You can see it's a product rule. We've got 2 different terms of x in. So u equals x and v equals ln x. So du dx equals 1, dv dx equals 1 over x. And I know this process might seem long, but when you get really good at this, it is quite you'll be able to do it quite straightforward. So remember, it's u times dv dx. So u times dv dx becomes x over x. I'm just going to jump a step, but you can actually do this in the exam when you can just apply the rules first hand. Plus v du dx, so that's just ln x. And then I can see that we all got to dy dx equals 1 plus ln x. Did we all get there? Yep, that's fantastic. Yes, wonderful. So, good. Next step is you set it to 0, but I'm thinking if you do that, up to there, you've got at least 2 marks, maybe 3, once you set it to 0. So 0 equals 1 plus ln x. Now, what did you struggle with? What would you do normally?
I basically did x equals minus 1 over ln, but then I don't think that's right.
So you got what? Ln x equals minus 1?
No, I did x equal, I did ln x equals minus 1, and then I did x equals minus 1 over ln, but I don't think that is right.
Yeah, no. So, well, if you did get to this stage, minus 1 equals ln x, well, how would you solve that normally? What's the inverse of ln? Do you remember?
E.
Okay, so what do you do to both sides then?
Do you log it?
Yeah, take the exponent. So what happens if you take exponents to both sides? So the inverse, so if I do this, e to the minus 1 equals e to the ln x, yes? So that's the inverse, so you get e to the minus 1 equals x. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep, and then that's literally how you do A. Nia, are we good with that? Yeah, so good. So, Olu, you get up to here and you did up to here, that's pretty much, you would have got 3 out of 4 because you can see you're only just missing that answer mark there. So that is still good. Alright. B, I'm going to let you give B a go. Change colour. quotient rule. So I'm just going to jump to the answer that you got. But essentially using the quotient rule, these are nice terms, so this will be easy to do. And so you got dy dx equals, I'm just going to write the 4 in front. If you wrote it behind it, that is behind the bracket, that's fine. For C over 4x minus c squared. Right. So if it's got a stationary point, dy dx equals 0, right? Happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we've got to do is just apply, if you ever get stuck, just try to apply what you know and see what happens. So we're going to do 0 equals all of this. And I'm assuming other people are stuck at this point as well, because I'm confident that you can all do this section.
I was able to do this part. Yeah.
Okay, so what I'll do here is we're going to multiply out by 4x minus c squared. So we're just going to get left with 0 equals 4 times 4x minus c minus 4 times 4x plus c. So yeah, that's good. So just go for it, because you can only not get the mark, but you could potentially lose one. Now, if I expand this out, we're going to get 0 equals 16x minus 4c minus 16x and minus 4c again. Can we see that?
Yeah.
Alright, wonderful. So 16x cancels, so we're going to get 0 equals minus 8c.
Yeah, that's where I got stuck.
Okay, but
if I had to do an explanation or something.
0 is a non-zero constant, so the only way this could be solved is c is 0. Could you see that?
Yeah.
0, so you could just say c is a non-zero constant. So that can't work, and that sort of explained it. That's your final mark. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because the only way this can be solved is z has to be 0 to solve this, but I've already told you in the question it's non-zero, so it can't be solved. So that must mean there's no stationary point. And that is that done. Now you've done some work with Lund now. Okay, so that is, see, an hour. Is that an hour? Yeah, it is an hour already. So I think we will continue this with harder questions because it's a good skill. How have you set your assessment yet, on you and William?
Yeah.
Yeah, how was it?
She hasn't given us the test back.
But how did you find while she was doing it?
It wasn't too bad. There was a few questions where it was like I was a bit stuck on them, but I attempted every question. Okay,
that's good. It's all about picking up marks. Remember, something like 56% for a right on the paper. So if you can pick up over half marks in every question, you're going to get yourself a decent grade. That's why you need to have good solid skills, because even if you was unsure about this point, you would have only lost 2 marks. So we've got 5 out of 7. It could have gone better, but it was okay. Yeah, some of it is practice. Like, your A-level teachers are worried because we want you to do well, and what we're worried about is not your ability, it's the time for you to get good. Because I don't know with your other teachers, but I just find like I don't have enough time to give the class the practice to get good at the foundational skills so that they can apply it to the harder questions. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is that the same for you? Do you feel like you don't get enough practice and it just... Or you don't get enough practice with the hard questions, which is equally we don't have time for either?
You don't really get practice with the hard questions.
Yeah. Right, yeah, so that's a hard thing, that's the timing issue. Okay. Right, any questions about all of this?